Hello?
TupacNation.net exclusive.
Oh, what's up, Kevin? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's nice to meet you. I just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to do this interview with us.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
So I guess to start it off, can you tell us about yourself? Like, what made you get in the music industry?
Well, I've always been interested in music. My parents were in music, and, I was guided kind of into it. And, I considered some other careers, being a lawyer and a veterinarian, a couple things, but I ended up really just wanting to, make music. And I started playing a lot of instruments, but I noticed that I was really interested in putting together the big picture. I really liked being in the studio. I like formulating other musicians and artists and creating, a song out of it, making a big picture. It was more fun to me.
What exactly did you do to the songs, like when you were at Death Row?
Well, a lot of times when I go on the Death Row sessions, and I was doing Tupac sessions, I was hired to mix the songs, record the songs, and do engineering in the studio. So I would work with the producers and the artists, and they would bring in guest people, the singers and this and that. Or when Tupac would come in, I would record him directly, onto the tracks. And I would record all the tracks from the producers, Johnny J and Bobcat and QD3 and the Daz, the different producers that were working on the project. And I would take everything we recorded and mix it down into something that sounded like a real song. We'd do some arrangement on it, and we'd get a real proper mix out of it, so that it would bang and hold tough through all these years.
So you worked after Tupac's death on several albums. How come you stopped, or haven't they called you to get you more involved with his music?
Well, after he died, I'd already been working on a lot of the Tupac stuff. And I'd been still working with Death Row a lot on their songs or albums, and they were calling me to do the mixes because I knew exactly how to get it to sound, just like the older stuff that we had done. So, we continued to work on stuff for a while, but as Death Row they started veering into different artists, different ventures, and different things, and I started working more with Snoop and other artists. I think the last things we did Still I Rise. I think after that, I just started working with people. I didn't really work with Death Row as much anymore.
Is it true that Still I Rise was supposed to be a Johnny J album with Tupac? I remember that was the initial plan, like a rumor to saying that it was all supposed to be all Johnny J tracks.
Johnny J produced a lot of that album, from what I remember. We did a lot of the work on that with the Outlaws, and we already had some tracks from Tupac already recorded. That album was special to me because, like I said, it was one of the last things from Tupac that I think I worked on.
Can you tell us about the All Eyes on Me sessions? Like, which artist didn't make it to the official release that you remember, or any scratch songs that you recall? Yeah,
I remember there was a few things like that. We did a song for. I remember we did a song for MC Hammer that I had a video that I posted on YouTube.
Too Tight, right? The Too Tight song?
Yeah. Too Tight, yeah. I'm not sure exactly if he used that or what happened with that, but, I remember we did that song and that was tight. I remember when we did How Do You Want It, Danny Boy actually did the original hook on that, and that was one of the last things that we did on that album was Casey and JoJo wanted to be on the album. He wanted to put them on too. So we took Danny Boy off of the album and we put Casey and JoJo singing the hook.
Oh, and, yeah. We have original version of that. It just has Tupac on the hook.
It had Tupac on the hook only?
Yeah.
Yeah, then he got Danny Boy to sing it, and that's how it was about to come out until one of the last few days before the finishing of the album. I remember we went in one night and put Casey and JoJo down. I flew the hooks in and we mixed it that same night. But the All Eyes on Me sessions were, they were special to me. I remember when Tupac, so we started working, we worked together a little bit, but I was working with Snoop a lot at the same time. And I remember he was working with a few engineers, but it really wasn't working out with those guys. They weren't getting the right mixes. They couldn't record his vocals fast enough and clean enough and right enough. So I remember they came to me and had me come in there and work with Pac one night after I finished another session. And right away we hit it off, and it was on all the way since then, you know. I remember, you know, the very first night that we worked together was the night that he got out of jail. You know, the same night he got out of jail, Suge brought him straight to the studio. He came in, you know, I was impressed with his focus on, you know, really trying to get this album done. I mean, you know, he didn't go out or anything, he came straight to the studio. And I remember, we did All Eyes on Me we did, I Ain't Mad at You and Ambitions as a Rider that night. And Daz already had the beats laid out, and he already had some verses that he had written. And we tracked it that same night right after I saw Suge giving his Death Row chain. But those sessions were all good. You know, we had fun doing every one of those songs. I enjoyed working with the different people on the album. I enjoyed working with the different producers, the different artists. You know, Method Man was on there. I was working with all the producers. Like I said, Bobcat was great. Devontae Swing was on there. You know, we did stuff with Quick was awesome on there. The stuff we did with Daz and Superfly, and you know, there was so many different people that we worked on that album. It was just a great experience from what I remember.
Yeah, it's a flawless
You know, we always knew that the album was going to be big, but I didn't know exactly how big it was going to be until we started seeing what happened after that.
So you mentioned song Too Tight. Was that meant for an MC Hammer album?
Yeah, I think they did that Too Tight for the MC Hammer album. I remember when they signed him and we started working together for a while too. That was fun working with MC Hammer as well, you know, because I always, you know, everybody grew up listening to him, and to be in the studio with him was a treat, you know, to see how these different people work. And that's what I liked about Tupac too, is that he always brought in like older, you know, more recognized, like establish some of the classic artists, you know, and we get to do stuff with them. And a lot of the Death Row days were filled with that, and you know, that was a big part of the whole era, you know.
Yeah. A question that the fans have is, did Tupac write MC Hammer's verse on that song? Because in the video of you in the studio with him, it has Tupac saying, "I wonder why they call me Hammer."
I don't know the answer to that question. Really, I was just in the studio with them when we were doing new songs every day. You know, we would do at least one or two every day. We would just keep on knocking them out. And, you know, they were just coming so fast. We were doing song after song, and I didn't really know what they were really planning on doing with the songs or anything at that point. You know, we were just making them. And then later they would just end up doing stuff with them. You know, maybe that they had pre-planned, maybe that they just figured out after the song was done what they were going to do with it. You know, but that's how I was seeing it, because there was just so much stuff coming in, and we were doing so many tracks per day. So, you know, it was hard to keep up with exactly what they were doing with stuff. I mean, we would do a song sometimes and coming to work the next day, I'd be hearing it on the radio, you know, and we just did it the night before. So, you know, we would do that a lot of times. A lot of times we would do it that same night, and they'd bring it down to the station that same night, and I'd hear it later on the way home. So, you know, it was a good era in music for what they were trying to do, but I wasn't sure what they were planning on doing with all the songs. We were just doing them in such a high volume. Like I said, he was doing songs. I don't know if he had in mind that he was going to give it to Hammer, or if he just was going to do it for himself, and then he ended up just giving it to Hammer. You know, Hammer writes his own lyrics too, you know, but he might have wanted some lyrics from Pac. You know, I really don't know, because, you know, I didn't have time to ask Pac what he planned on doing with all this stuff and this and that. It didn't really get chatty like that, you know. We were focused on doing the music, you know what I mean? So I really don't know a lot of times what was, you know, what he was planning on doing with a lot of these songs, you know.
Okay.
He'd just come in and we'd just do them. I'd give him a data of it, or, you know, and a CD of it, and he'd be out.